What's going on, guys and gals? CheFPV, Troy, 500 below, Team B Rotor, 0 ground FPV. Today, this one is for you, Crispy FPV. My main man, Chris. Thank you, homie. You, as usual, somebody brought me down to earth a little bit, and so I am going to reshoot this video in non-rant form. Need a sip of my coffee if I'm going to do that, right? All right. So this is the deal. We have the DJI Mavic. That is my DJI Mavic in there. It's got the charger, the radio, everything, 2 batteries and all. The second bag there is got some interesting little toys in it. It has the filter, ND filter globes for the DJI Mavic from Carolina Drones. Now, before I even start, I just want to go ahead and get my rant out of the way, but we'll make this quick and easy and we won't call people as big of idiots. I just want to talk about a couple of points real quick. First of all, Carolina Drones and Frank Ferry is a remarkably awesome vendor. He is honestly one of a kind, or at least one of very few. Him and Kerry Garrison and a couple other guys in this community that have taken on and really grown these vendors and distribution chains the way that they have and made names for themselves have done so by providing amazing customer support. I can tell you that for every one complaint I've ever seen about Carolina Drones or Frank Ferry, I have literally seen hundreds of him reaching out and doing things above and beyond, him finding ways to make products happen when manufacturers kind of don't believe that they need to or think that it's not a viable solution. And I've even seen those same manufacturers come to Frank and end up taking the product and making it their own. So please don't ever judge a manufacturer, a distributor or a vendor or somebody like Frank without really knowing what you're talking about, without really digging in. Whether you think that what I'm about to show you is a product worth spending money on or not, I promise you that Frank is not trying to prey on consumers. I and many other people, I can show you a message that I sent him when I first got my Mavic, have asked him about replacement globes and how we could use a globe to achieve some sort of either filtering or light blocking around the edges in order to utilize the globe for a specific reason, which is the DJI Mavic was made to use it. Any rumors that you've heard or other YouTube videos that you have seen, I will tell you to do this. Go check your manual or go online and look it up. DJI created the Mavic to fly with the globe. Whether or not you would like to decide whether it is a better idea to use the globe or not use the globe, that's up to you. I'm going to give you some reasons today why I want to use the globe and why I think it's important that manufacturers and vendors start looking at new ways and techniques to mold it and to come up with new versions of it that could be possibly better utilized than just the clear fishbowl one. So that's that. Know what you know, do what you do, but don't call people names and call vendors out when you don't even know who they are, man. I've literally seen Frank give a man a brand new Autel multiple times and unique for a crash they had that the manufacturer would not cover. I've seen him. Hey, send it back to me. I'll deal with Autel. I'll deal with unique. I'm going to send you a brand new unit. I've never seen anybody else do that in this industry. So Frank, big thumbs up. I will say, I did not pay for these, mainly because I honestly wouldn't have ordered them. I'm not a photographer. I don't typically go out and shoot straight on photos or even video shots. And mostly the only thing I do is I use this to document my FPV experiences in the races that we do. So for me, I would have not gone out and bought all of these. Frank sent me these because I made a comment saying, hey man, send them to me and I'll do a video at least showing what they can do or can't do. He knows me. He's sent me product before and I've not always, always been 100% up on it. I've always, voiced my opinions and my thoughts. And that's what this is about. So I will show you what they are, what they look like, and you already saw the intro video because I added that to the front end for Crispy. We will show that video again, and then I also have some actual JPEGs that were pulled from the SD card that I'll then display with all the different filters showing. So here we go. My unbiased and actual look at these. So people that say, first of all, first complaint I've seen, well, why would you buy a Mavic and then go and buy a bunch of filters that you got to carry around in in this giant case? Well, to answer your question, it's not that much of a giant case. And my two cases that I use are low pro, and I have them hooked together, and it's no different in carrying one bag than carrying both. Sure, 50% larger, an excess. But aren't you a photographer? The guys that are usually saying this are the guys yelling how any photographer would know that you shouldn't use those because of the fishbowl. And then don't photographers carry like every piece of gear they can, like 13 lenses and lighting meters and flashes and pop-up lighting? I mean, are you serious? Like a photographer. We said we weren't going to rant. Sorry. Here we go. So I have 5 filters in here: an ND2, ND4, ND8, 16, and 32. These things are just like the stock globe. They are a 2-piece build. They have this side panel piece that is actually kind of epoxied or set in there, and it's clipped in on the front side. I did have one that did pop off. However, I've seen the stock ones do the exact same, and I've examined them. Basically, the one that popped off, it just needs a little bit of epoxy right here, and it'll be 100% one back together. I actually was able to slide it back in and clip it back in and fly with it, so we still tested that one. Other than that, the globes are exactly the same pretty much shape and mold. They have the vent hole, the slit right here. It's a vent, which that brings me to the next, complaint or people thinking that the globe, again, is not meant to fly with. I just want to discuss this in a little bit of detail. So DJI, again, created the Mavic to be flown with the globe. They flew it with the globe in a lot of their adverts, if not all of them. I don't know that I've seen a single advert of theirs or like ad or picture from DJI without it when it's flying. So if DJI built it to be used with the globe, and in all reality, the only time the globe actually is even like presents an issue is in very specific lighting conditions, like a very specific angle of light, or when the camera obviously kind of tilts into like a little bit to the left, like to correct the yaw, you will get a little bit of blowout at times. That being said, there's still times that you can use it and never even notice it's there. I have literally shot an entire video in the rain with a wet Mavic and didn't even notice the globe was there, except for a few times where drops actually fell on the lens, where I edited that part out, obviously. But, I mean, I was shooting in the rain because of the globe. The other thing, the first time I flew Mavic and I took the globe off and flew it, I got all kinds of wind speed warnings. Every time I pitched forward to move, wind speed warning. Every time that I even went up and a gust of wind blew by, wind speed warning. So where is that coming from? That is coming from the gimbal. The gimbal motors are sent to have more resistance or to be overstressed or overworking, and therefore the brains say, hey man, your gimbal's being stressed, you got too high of winds. It doesn't know that the gimbal globe is off. Again, we are assuming and working off the assumption that DJI built this drone to fly with or without. People say that it's in the manual to operate with or without, but it definitely says with in the manual. So, I mean, it's just real basic common sense that as you move forward, a ton of wind resistance is pushed against those tiny little motors. And yes, this tiny little gimbal is amazing at what it can do, but that a little bit amount of force is stressing it. And so obviously DJI incorporated the wind speed warnings to protect the gimbal. Well, the ultimate protection for that, the globe. The globe on there protects the gimbal from getting that wind buffet right on it. So when you move forward, the wind goes around the globe. Again, is it ideal for all situations? No. But I think that it's odd or funny that all the major, flyers out there that are flying Mavic, nobody, like 98% of people probably, or 99% of people never use the globe. And I would just say that you should start thinking to yourself when and where it actually is usable. And that being said, the heat. Everybody worries about venting. Oh, those vents, Troy. Oh, it's going to overheat the gimbal. Never seen an overheated gimbal before. I've never experienced a warning on an overheated gimbal, but I do experience a ton of wind speed gimbal warnings, which cause the motors to overwork, which causes motors to get hot, which would cause motors to then need more ventilation, I suppose, but they're being overworked because they're out in the wind. So put the cover on it, and guess what happens? That vent right there will suck hot air out of the globe. If there's cooler air on the backside where the vents exit, then a vacuum is created and all of the hot air escapes. So there is no over buildup of hot air. There's also a few slits and slots, for instance, right there. Those two clip holes right there actually will provide some ventilation through that area, which will actually, again, help push out all that hot air. So I don't know why people think that there's an overheating issue other than maybe somebody on YouTube or somewhere supposedly said that gimbals will overheat with the globe, but they won't. Bottom line is put the globe on, go fly it, get some video, compare it, see what's what. See if there's situations where you probably could or should use it. That's all. So now we have, again, the filters. What do they do? So I'm, again, not a giant photographer professional or know a lot about it. I can say that I saw clear differences in the filters. The exact same differences I saw in using actual filters on my GoPro when I had the Solo and had filters on that. You can see the filters doing their job, when it's straight on and there's no blowout or no glare. But yes, you are going to get the same blowouts and glares at certain angles and certain perspectives and certain lighting conditions. So is it for everyday situational? Is it for flying long shots and videos where there's, lighting changes? Absolutely not. But in controlled lighting situations like photographers deal with and photographers typically shoot and are really, really anal about our very specific lighting conditions, I can't imagine that a real photographer can't say that there would be an opportunity that the wind resistance is an issue and causing, vibrations and jumps in your gimbal or causing warnings, and that you're not just taking some straight on shots at some really great lighting that these globes could help you with. Now you could go with a real, an actual cover that goes over the lens as far as a filter. And yes, that's more ideal. They're typically a little more money. They have also been known to fall off on this setup because of the way that they're designed to clip over the edges. One clips off and falls, the lens falls off. Well, that ruins a shot and you lost it. And I just, there's a time and a place for these. I do genuinely believe that some people will get some uses out of these and start finding some ways to use them. I don't know what else to say other than that. So here's going to be the video again, and then right after that I'll do some comparison shots of some different filters shown together with some pictures full size and then side by sides. Again, I really, I think my biggest thing out of this whole experiment and this whole, process of looking at this, and the reason why I wanted to look at these, is you guys got to stop spreading, just unfactual information. Stop calling people out in names when you don't know what they are or who they are. You don't have to be, rude and mean and just making fun of people to get your point across. Nobody's going to listen to a master photographer that's being a jerk. And hey, I'm a jerk sometimes. I try to correct myself. just like this, when I got called out, you know, I wanted to provide a little more information and not hurt people, you know, not detract from what the goal was, which is to show results. So here's the results. Judge for yourself. Make opinions for yourself. Give people the recommendations based off your experience. That's what I ask that you do. Fly safe, fly smart. Just fly.